Alright, so what I'm doing today in a long series of BMW e39 model upgrades, tips, tricks, repairs. Today we are going to be removing the factory stereo and putting in an aftermarket stereo amplifier and subwoofer. What you're looking right now is the BMW e39 business class tape deck. That irritating sound you hear in the background is the tape spinning, and I don't know if it always sounds like that or if it just sounds like that after it gets old, but it's annoying and you have to turn your music up considerably loud so you can hear your music over that. And then you'll also notice that a lot of the pixels on the top half there are gone. Don't want to go through the process of trying to replace that ribbon, and don't want to spend $800 for the hooligan slide in that fits perfectly in there. It looks great, Android software, but stuff out there that's better. Alright, let's get started. First thing you're going to want to do, for one, let's turn that off. Eject the tape. Go ahead and remove this knob here once we get that off. Now, if you look in there, there is a very small hex nut inside there. I want to say it's an 8, maybe. Heck, I don't know. So what you want to do is you want to use one of these little L-shaped jobs. Make sure you get the right size, as I did not before. And then, you take maybe half a turn, maybe a full turn, I don't know. Depends on how flexible your wrist is, I guess. But right now it's locked in, not moving. Take a turn while pushing in, and then pull out with it. And this comes right out. And if you see here, right on the side, there is a locking mechanism. You see that right here? That is the mechanism. That locks and unlocks the radio right here. So that's what you're toying with. So, and you want to make sure you're using a size 2. Now we go ahead and slide this out. On the back, there's a connector. You want to go ahead and remove that. Now, the way you're going to have to remove this is going to be a little bit different from what you're used to. If you look at this connector right here, on that pin connector, you have to actually push this down and then slide that back. And it's like a lever system. Pushes the connector out, you can pull it right on out. Go ahead and get that on the floor. So you've got this, looks like a 12-pin connector. So we've got a 12-pin connector right here. Alright, next. Got to get this tape player out. Go this again. Alright, so we're back to this. Alright, so now if you look right on top of the furthest out mounting pin, there is another area for you to get this get your handy dandy tool out. Some people have said it's a T10. I don't know. A little tool think I'm using this as a 2. Not concerned. So let's get this in here. And there's another one right in there. get inside there. Lock tight on that end, lock tight on this end. Haven't grabbed it, still using the Torx. And just sliding it on out. Give your Torx key another half a turn, wiggle it around, pull it out. Alright. Alright, we got a nice, neat little diagram right here, self-explanatory. Radio, flathead screwdriver. You pivot it up, move the connector up, pivot the screwdriver handle down, and you should be golden. Alright, back. It actually takes a little bit of prying up to get this thing popped off, but literally all you're doing is you're just lifting up on this connector once it's out. You have to make sure that these knobs right here make it all the way to the bottom of this connector, and then it's pretty much going to pull out, and then you've got your connector pin right there. Looks like we've got two more connections to take off. There's one, just pull back, and two. Alright. Very interesting fact, if you all did not know, BMWs come equipped with an Alpine stereo unit. So, we got everything out. We've got our main connector here. We've got our 12-pin connector here. And then we've also got one of those looks like an antenna. This is probably a ground of some sort. Don't know. Not important for me right now. I've got other stuff I got to get into. Alright, so this is still functional. Highly doubtful that you'll be able to close it again once you install your new radio. But let's get to the fun part. And here I've got a Scosche in-dash installation kit for the 5 Series BMW e39. Got that from Sonic Electronics, free. The Scosche connector kit, $19.90 and up. Select BMW. Bam, look at that. That'll look better in a second. The antenna adapter. And this is what I went with. After debating about screens, flip out screens, TVs, all that good stuff, chose to go with the Pioneer mixed tracks, the DEH P8400BH. This is not the same Pioneer unit that you will see in Walmart. Very, very different. This gives you iPod connectivity, USB, CDs, Bluetooth, HD radio, satellite radio ready. Not quite sure what that X is. And the reason I didn't go with the screen is because I'm going to be using this to pair up with an iPad. So there's really no use in getting all the extra screens. Alright, let's bust this thing open and get to it. Alright, so I got my soldering iron here. And I've got my solder. And this is probably kind of overkill on a solder, but this is the only solder I ever use for anything that I do. It's called Chronobraze 92C Mighty Mites solder alloy, acid core, and actually you can read everything here. Provides 2200 psi tensile strength, which means if those wires on my stereo were strong enough, I could probably hang a car from it. So, got the soldering iron. I would recommend not doing it the way that I'm doing it, by holding it on your leg or something like that, because 9 times out of 10 you will drop. You will put a hole in your leather or in your carpet. So let's get started. Alright, so this connector goes in essentially like the connector that you pulled out, and if you see here, same knobs. You got your circles mounted inside there. You're going to push down. Bam. It's locked into place. Not going anywhere. BMW engineering is solid. Use it. Alright, the next, separate these wires here. on this side of the loom or off the connector. On the right hand side, these are all your speaker wires right here. So separate those. You know, those are pretty simple. Those should be the first ones you go to and do. And then the very next thing you're going to want to do is, and these wires actually have written on them exactly what they should correspond with the aftermarket head unit's wiring. So you've got your 12 volt constant here, and of course these are all colors we're all used to if you've done this before. You've got remote turn on wires, antenna turn on wires, your ground, and then also this may be your, you actually can't read it here, there's another 12 volt power source. Then over here, even on the speaker wire, you've got writing there that lets you know exactly what this goes to. So you shouldn't be lost here. So the first thing I'm going to do is start off with the speaker wire, and then I'll move over to the power source. And the reason why I'm saving the power source till last is because I'm not going to start that in first. I'm actually going to get a soft wire on that and just wrap it around and make sure everything works, because sometimes with these cars there's an issue with the antenna wire that you use for the turn on, because there is not an electronic antenna in the e39 vehicles. So you want to switch this to a different source, but we'll cover that once we get to it. So let's do it. Alright, so at this point, still soldering. If you're not used to soldering or you don't know how to solder, definitely a great thing to learn. I can feel the wire itself getting hot. Alright, that's just about what you're going to be looking for. You know, it's a nice, nice clean coverage there. You know, so you've got most of that encased. Wires are fused together. Got some hanging out, but yeah, that's okay. And then once you solder all the wire connections, you're going to want to go ahead and get some heat shrink around them. Just use a heat gun, or if you really want to, a lighter, and just get the heat shrink tubing around here. And essentially what that's going to do is just give you another rubber sheath of protection. Or if you want, you can just use electrical tape. Especially cheaper electrical tape, it loses its adhesiveness over time, and it basically becomes like paper and eventually rolls off, and you have wires touching radios going crazy. So use heat shrink. I recommend it. Or some people don't even do this. They just use butt connectors. Butt connectors, for me, they're kind of cheap, but I mean, they get the job done. This is just my personal preference to solder. Use your own. We'll continue.